Can you see my screen?
No, no, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am. No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Still share. I hope now it is visible.
Yes.
What is there on the screen?
Hope you
What is there on the
understood.
screen?
Hope you understood.
Hope
Hope
you
Hope
you
you are
understood.
understood it. Did you?
Okay. Okay. Fine. So now see my screen, but this is the last slide. There are many slides before which we need to learn, and then we will come to this slide. Okay. Fine. So we have already discussed about this graph as a data structure, and then we tried to know that non-linear data structures, they are going to be little bit complex than linear data structure, because uh, as they are maintaining hierarchical relationship between them, it becomes somewhat difficult to manage them in the memory. Just consider tree, because tree has multiple branches. It will be difficult for us to maintain adjacent nodes. I mean, if you have left part of the tree, then again that left subtree will have left part and the right part. Again the leaf, likewise every node will have left and right till you reach to the leaf node, or the what we call the children nodes. Okay, so that's why all these types of pointers you need to maintain in the memory while implementing nonlinear data structures. So trees and graphs, they will be not very difficult, but little bit difficult to implement than the linear data structures. So if you have understood this, we have also discussed about how you will select appropriate data structure. So analyze the problem, determine what kind of operations are needed, and then based on that we are going to select the data structure which best meets all your requirements. Okay, now this is homework for you. Now this is a small homework for you. Okay, what is there in a homework? Now look around and you will see that people organize the things. Now see, there are few operations which I have noted on the slides, and now you need to think and you need to tell which is the best data structure suitable for that particular task. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first task is write to-do list. First task is write to-do list. When I say write to-do list, you don't write your to-do list. You tell me, if you want to write your to-do list, which data structure you will use there. To-do list, you understand? Bucket list? Bucket list. Like these are the
Yes,
things
Mr.
which
Yes, ma'am.
these are the things which I want to achieve. Very recent example of Sushant Singh. You know, he had many things in his to-do list, but unfortunately he left us. Anyway, so tell me, if we want to write a to-do list, which data structure you will use? What is there in to-do list? This is the first thing that I want to achieve. Okay, for example, now you are in second year computer engineering. What can be the first to-do list in your bucket list? First, say after getting pass out from the college, I should get good job. This can be your first to-do list. Once you get good job, maybe second to-do list can be uh, to get promoted by getting more salary or more package, you know. After that maybe you'll get married with somebody, right? So like this. Okay, so to-do list, which data structure you will use? One after each other you are going to complete this task, no?
Stack.
Which data structure you will use? Whether it will be stack, yes or no?
Yes, stack.
Yes, na? Okay. What about next? Q at ATM. A very simple it is. Q at ATM.
Q.
Which data structure?
Q.
Very
Q
simple.
data structure.
Okay. Then third one. Arrange stacks of book.
Stack.
Again, stack.
Of course, stacks. It is already written, right? Then look up words in the dictionary. Which data structure you will use here? Think for a while and tell which data structure you will use in order to find specific word in dictionary.
Graph.
Graph. Why graph? Is it hierarchical relationship? Is it hierarchical relationship? No, na. Why we need to use hierarchical relationship there?
Q.
Q. Why can't you think about linked list? Because see how words are arranged. First letter, okay, and then first letter, and again second letter is also arranged from A to Z, and then third letters they are also arranged like A to Z. Yes or no? How the words are occurring in the dictionary? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. Think of linked list, or even you can have emery trees as a data structure to implement this. Okay. Okay, then next is organize directories in computer. You want to organize directories. I hope you understand directories. Directories are nothing but folders. How you organize folders in your computer? Which data structure it will use? Array, suppose if you have a folder called SE, second year semester 1, and then what you will do? This is your root folder. Then you will create say five subfolders you will create in that, say FDS, DM, Del, CG, and so on. And then again in FDS, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. Is it graph or tree? It is tree, right? It is tree. Why? Because we have one root folder and then it has some subfolders and so on, right? Okay, yes. And then the last application, you want to plan a road map. Okay, you are traveling somewhere and you want to plan a road map to go somewhere. Now, which data structure you will use?
Graph.
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 Yes, you know GPS system, that is Google Map. Everyone is knowing. If you want to reach to the destination from some source, there are multiple ways to reach your destination. But then again, we need to think of which is the optimal way or which is the shortest path to reach from source to the destination, and then only that particular path is shown to the user by the Google Map. Okay, so this was a simple homework for you all, and you tried it well, so congratulations. And like this, go on learning the data structure, okay, in upcoming lectures as well. Okay, fine. So with this, the next point which we want to start is about ADT. Okay, so next part is what? ADT. ADT, what is ADT? It is abstract data type. ADT is what? Abstract data type. Now, for every data structure, we need to specify the ADT. Okay, for every data structure, we need to specify ADT. Now, ADT is what? If you will think of ADT in very simple words, ADT is nothing but what kind of operations you can perform on particular data structure. Just for the definition sake, I have written ADT is a type for objects whose behavior is defined by set of values and set of operation. Okay, so what is ADT? ADT is again combination of two things, set of values and set of operation. Now we have written in the next line, definition of ADT only mentions what operations are to be performed, but not how these operations will be implemented. So what your ADT specifies? ADT only specifies what operations we can perform on the data structure. Your ADT does not specify how these operations are actually implemented. So if you are thinking like ADT means it will be detailed explanation of type of operation that you can perform on data structure, so it is wrong. Okay, ADT, what it tells you? It only tells you what type of operations you can perform on the data structure. It doesn't tell you how to perform. When I say how to, it means line by line code is expected. So ADT will simply tell you it is performing this set of operation on this data structure. Okay, so it does not specify how your data will be organized in the memory and then what algorithms will be used for implementing these operations. Okay, so ADT simply specifies what are the set of operations to be performed. It is called as abstract. Why it is called as abstract? because it gives an implementation independent view. So once the set of operations are specified, you are free to choose any programming language. It is not implementation specific. It is implementation independent. That is why it is called as abstract. And the process of providing only these essentials and hiding other details is known as abstraction. Okay, so we are simply telling the user that these are the set of operations possible on this data structure. How those operations are implemented, it is your task. Okay, it is your job. So those operations code that is not visible to the front end user. Suppose when we purchase any new electronic equipment, suppose I have purchased say grass cutter machine. Okay, very recently I purchased grass cutter machine at my home. So what was there in the user manual? In user manual, what was there? How to do settings of different parts which are there on the grass cutter machine, and then what are the set of operations possible with the grass cutter machine, like adjusting the level, what grass size you want to cut, and so on. But it is not telling me like which sensor it is using inside, and then what is the logic to cut the grass, and then how that grass is broken into small pieces. No, we are not bothered about all these implementation details. I hope now you are getting the ADT. ADT is what? Simply telling what set of operations they are possible with specific data structure. So here I have given example of ADT. We have taken array as an example of ADT. So if you are asked to write ADT for an array, okay, so we know that ADT is what? Set of values plus type of operations which we can perform on the data structure. So set of values stored in the array, suppose it will be integer because we have taken integer array as an example. And then what are the set of possible operation? We can create array, we can insert element in the array, we can delete element from the array, we can search element from the array, we can sort array, or we can merge two arrays combined. Okay, so these are the set of operations possible with your array. So this is called as what? ADT. Why it is abstract data type? We have not written a literal code to create the array. We have not written the code to insert element in the array. Okay, so simply we write, at the most we write pseudocode, and you know pseudocodes, they are implementation independent because they are simple steps or common steps which can be further applied to any of the programming language. So ADT is what? ADT is specifying what set of operations are possible with particular data structure. Okay, now classification of data structure we have seen, that was at the very broad level, because at the broad level we tried to classify our data structures into linear and non-linear. But if you go little bit further, you will find that there are these many types of data structure. Very first is primitive and non-primitive, second is linear and non-linear, then third is static versus dynamic, fourth is persistent versus ephemeral data structures, and then the last is sequential access versus direct access data structure. Now let us take them one by one. So primitive, non-primitive we already know, because primitive is what? Primitives are the basic data structure and they directly work or operate upon the machine instruction, and they have different representation on different computers. So for example, we can list integer, right, float, character, strings, pointers. All these are your primitive data types or primitive data structures. And in non-primitive data structures, they are little bit complicated than primitive, and most of the times they are defined by user, non-primitive data types. And examples of non-primitive data types can be arrays, lists, and files. So this is, we have already discussed, but this was just a short overview. Okay, then going next, again, this is also what we already know, linear and non-linear data structures. Data structure is said to be linear if elements form a sequence or if elements form a linear list. And linear data structure, every data element will have only one successor and only one predecessor. है ना. See, standing in queue is different and standing in crowd is different. If you are there in crowd, there is no specific structure. Anyone can stand anywhere. You don't have any predecessor, you don't have any successor, and it will just become a crowd, nothing else. Okay. And in nonlinear data structure, every data element may have more than one predecessor as well as successor. Consider graph. Graph can have, see, one node can be connected with multiple other nodes. So we can say that there are multiple successors and there are multiple predecessors as well. And elements, they do not form a linear sequence. Why? Because we used one word, that is adjacent in the linear data structure, which is not there in a non-linear data structure. So this is again what we have already seen. Now coming to the third part, that is static versus dynamic data structure. And this is really very, very important concept that my computer engineers should understand. What are the static data structures and what are the dynamic data structures? Now see, when you consider this particular classification of data structure, moreover, it is talking about memory allocation part. The way how you are allocating memory for your data will tell whether it is static or dynamic data structure. Okay. Now what is static data structures? They are designed to store static set of data. Now what is static? Forget about programming, but in general, static is something which does not changes. Okay. So if you have some value, say pi. Pi means which pi? Pi r square, circle areas pi I am talking about. So pi has always got a static value, that is 3.14 and something, which will never change. So we can say that for pi uses static value which does not changes. Okay. So it is the memory size allocated to the data which is static. And when this static allocation is to be done, see, there are two types how memory can be allocated to your data. One is at compile time and other is at run time. So compile time is when you are declaring or writing variables directly in the program before compilation. So those variables use static memory allocation. And see, dynamic is when memory is allocated runtime. Suppose, just for understanding purpose, I will quote one example. I want to store records of students in a class. So what few students will do? I don't know what is strength of class. So what few students can do? They will assume that, say, class strength will be around 100. Okay, and they will directly initialize one array with 100 memory locations. They will directly initialize one array with 100 memory location. But whether class strength will be always 100? No. Say for our class, class strength is 75. So if only 75 memory locations are being used, then rest 25 will go waste. No? So when you use static memory allocation, there is wastage of memory. Okay, so what is better approach? Better approach is, when I want to write the program, I will ask the user how many students are there in the class. So when I say 75, I will read this value at runtime and I will allocate only 75 memory locations for storing the data. So if it is like this, there is no wastage of memory, as we are asking the user in prior to the memory allocation. Okay, so runtime, we ask the user first how many memory locations are to be allocated, and then we allocate those many memory locations. So there is no wastage of memory when we go for dynamic memory allocation. And what is compile time? Compile time is in program only you are initializing array of 100. So that is called as static memory allocation. Okay. Now, dynamic data structures, they are designed to facilitate change of the data structure in the runtime. Already I told. So it is possible to change the assigned value of elements, which was not possible in the static data structure. And you can have as many elements as you want. Okay. And what will be the largest memory size? So as long as you have memory, you will be able to allocate your data in the memory. So what is the limitation? How many elements we can allocate at runtime? It is as large as of our computer memory. So those many memory locations can be allocated at runtime, which can be called as what? Dynamic data structure. So if you are allocating memory to your data at runtime, then it is called as dynamic data structure. If you are allocating memory to your data at a compile time, then it is called as a static data structure. So are you getting difference between static and dynamic? Static is something which does not changes. Dynamic is what, when static allocation is done, it is done before your program is compiled. So at compile time you are doing, okay? In while writing program only you are specifying that array size will be 100 and this will be initialized to 50 and so on. So once you have initialized those variables to values, you won't be able to change their values. I mean, now amount of memory allocated to the variable you will be not able to change. So in this case it may happen that memory locations which are not used, they will simply go waste, right? So to save this memory wastage, we go for dynamic memory allocation. So dynamic is what? Allocate only required amount of memory, that too at runtime, just to avoid the wastage of memory. Okay. So this is the difference between static data structure and dynamic data structure. Now next and very important type of data structure is persistent data structure and ephemeral data structure. Okay, persistent data structure and ephemeral data structures. Names are